I'm Rosie, and I've been with Wolf Summit since the beginning, so I'm very happy to see so many familiar and new faces as well. Right now we have a startup showcase, so I'd like to invite our jury to join us right here, our mentors.
So I'm gonna leave, Rosie.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
The stage is yours.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, please approach us here. 3. Yes. Perfect. So we've got right here in front of us Wiktoria Przybylska, startup advisor at wiktoriaprzybylska.com. We have Adam Saku, senior community manager at Demium, and Gregory Roll, senior manager innovation and technology at Invest Hong Kong. Okay, I think that we are ready to have our first startup joining us here on stage, and I hope that Marian Bracic is here. Perfect. So, yeah, I'll give you my microphone in just a moment. The startup that he'll be presenting is Legit Software, oh yeah, you have your own. Perfect. Yeah, and the clicker. Perfect. Okay, so the format is startups will be pitching for 7 minutes, and then after that we'll have 3 minutes with our mentors to share any feedback, give any advice. So without further ado, please, round of applause for Legit Software.
All right. So let's talk about privacy and what you people are doing when you think no one is watching. My name is Marian. I am CEO of Legit, and our product is Data Privacy Manager. Data Privacy Manager is a privacy platform. It's an end-to-end software automation platform that helps companies solve all their privacy compliance challenges. And I have been working with data for past 20 years, and I have learned that both companies and governments are really good at collecting your personal information and knowing everything about you. What you do, where you go, how you feel, who you hang out with, and so on. But in the same time, they are really bad at protecting your privacy. And for you, privacy should be important. It is a human right. But why should the companies care? So I will start with ethics, because there are companies who are ethical and who want to do privacy the right way. In ESG reporting, we are seeing data privacy issues becoming a standard, both in E, in S, and in G. Historically, it was the social component, because it is a human right, and there is a lot of ethical dilemmas about using personal data for different purposes, especially for automated decision-making, for example, for credit scores or for healthcare. However, today, it's also about being responsible in data management, data governance, but also in how you collect data, how much data you collect, what you are allowed to collect, and so on. So even when companies are ethical, and even when companies want to do privacy the right way, it's still very difficult. They are not good at it. And that is because they don't have the tools for the job. And this is why we have created Data Privacy Manager. So what is a common theme here? You see all these big brand names. So there are at least 3 things in common. First of all, they all have problems with privacy. They all got privacy fines ranging from big to gigantic. The second thing is that their engineers or whistleblowers will say, we don't have a clue where all your personal data is. And the third thing is they don't use Data Privacy Manager. You all know about GDPR, but you should also know that there are other data protection regulations which are spreading like wildfire all across the globe. And with increased complexity, more and more rules around privacy, with increased territorial scope and more privacy maturity, The market for privacy software is growing rapidly with compound annual growth rate of over 40%, and it is estimated to be somewhere around $26 billion by 2029, and I think this is a very conservative estimation. So what is Data Privacy Manager? Like I said, an end-to-end software automation platform designed for enterprises to solve all their privacy compliance challenges. It is a modular land and expand platform built on our proprietary AI and on a global privacy knowledge base. It is designed to protect people's privacy and to minimize privacy compliance risks for companies. So what we do differently than competition? We are moving more and more in the direction of smart privacy industry solutions. If you look at the typical journey of a company that is trying to create their privacy program management, they will start with something that we call paper-based compliance. And this is when they don't need software, they have their lawyers, they have their consultants. So this is like 2018. Then they start with what we call tick box compliance. They will start asking around in the company, they will start collecting information on how the company is handling personal data. However, they are still not changing the way in which they do business, in which they collect, protect, and remove personal data from their systems. And this is where we come in. We always started with data-based compliance, connecting to all the data sources and monitoring and controlling and protecting personal data. But now, unlike the competition, we are moving more and more in the direction of smart privacy industry solutions. And I will give you an example of a smart privacy industry solution in clinical trial studies for healthcare for pharmaceutical companies. So one of the customers that we have is AstraZeneca. We work for them globally, and we are managing consents and mastering data related to consents for all their clinical trial studies across the globe. So there was a lot of problems with how they are managing their ethical and legal store, how they are managing their consents, because when a patient enters a study, they need to sign a lot of different consents. And it's a pickle. How are you going to get all that data? How do you know who you can share data with universities, with partners, with other pharmaceutical companies? And the rules are different in all the countries around the world. In terms of customers, we have over 120 enterprise customers, and we sit nicely across all verticals because regulation applies to all, and everybody processes personal data. We are visible. Primarily, Gartner and Forrester have included us in all their reports related to privacy. We have our own AI. We have technology which is different than the competition in terms that we have data discovery and classification of data in any script and any language. We have a way to link all personal data to a single individual, and we have a means to secure data and to remove data when the company loses business and legal justification for processing. We have a very experienced team. Our core team member and advisory board have over a century of experience in building successful businesses. And what we are looking for is an investment of 2 million euro. Currently, we have in this year 1 million euro revenue. We have contracted over 600,000 euro of annual recurring revenue for next year. And we are planning to grow organically at least to double the revenue next year. So also, if there's anyone interested here in doing privacy the right way, talk to me. I'm going to be here. Don't be shy.
All right. Big round of applause for Marian. And now let's jump quickly to the Q&A from our mentors here. If you can turn on Microphone, perfect. We have only 1 minute, 30 seconds, so let's move on. Who'd like to start?
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I have one question, because you mentioned about how data privacy differs from country to another. Are you covering the whole globe regarding that? Because I guess that every country and every region is different. So do you cover the whole
Yes,
globe?
exactly. The platform is built on a global privacy knowledge base. So yeah, we have covered the differences.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. My first question is, can you describe your competitors? Because the only thing I got today was you describe a problem, then you give an overlook and say the market. I don't know how your technology is working. I never saw details. You never mentioned competitors. And when you talk about clinical trials, I mean, I work in this area. I know AstraZeneca. When you have patients, you have patient population, they sign contracts and so on. Maybe you can optimize. But okay, I want to not go into this topic, but please tell me your competitors.
For sure. So most of the competition is US competition, like OneTrust and Big ID. We are the only European privacy management platform. I didn't go into too many details because I only had 7 minutes, like 8. It is already a platform with 12 different modules. So because privacy is getting more and more complicated. So unfortunately, I didn't have time to go into details, but I would love to.
A quick question from Adam, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Marian. I like the way you present. You're able to have good storytelling. I like the way you present the problem. You have good experience, which is, I think, good sign. I like the way you present the opportunity for investors. The slides are clear. However, I agree with my colleague here. Would like to know more about the product, how it works. You have these slides, mock-ups, maybe you would like to dive in. And also about the business model, what kind of pricing you offer. That's also something that we are missing. So yeah, that would be my feedback for the next one. Maybe, still 7-8 minutes is a lot. And sorry, I'm taking too much time. But also to know more about your team would be fantastic as well. So that would be on my end.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have any more time, but once again,
Thank you very
round
much
of applause, and make sure to network with Marian to find out more. All right. So I'd like to invite our next startup to join us here on stage, and it's Smaply. Are you here around? Please approach us. Yes. Here you have your tools, presenting tools.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, I think that we are. I think that we are ready. So, Klaus, if you're ready, please begin.
Oh, the font. Oh, yeah. All right. We're going to get this anyway. Hi, I'm Klaus. I'm co-founder and CTO of Modern Metrics, and today I want to talk to you about Smaply. My personal background is in software engineering, management combined with service design. And a couple of years ago, we started building a software in the space of customer experience. We are a B2B software as a service company with currently around 2 million of annual recurring revenue, seeking to grow, enter the US market and raising a Series A. So if that is interesting to you, join me for the next couple minutes. So, customer experience is at the center of any great business model. We can all agree on that, I guess. But this was not so much the fact for a lot of enterprises a couple of years ago. In fact, it changed quite dramatically. Nowadays, companies expect to compete mostly on customer experience with their competitors. And actually, especially in times of crisis, this becomes ever more critical. We know that from really solid research data from the financial crisis from 2008 to 2013. So actually for us, it's not a perfect time because our customers use the software to secure their existing revenues, to make their customers happy, and to foster recommendations, which is ever more critical in the current time. So what are we doing actually? What we do is we build the operating system for customer experience. I'm really sorry for the font. It's actually a PDF and it should be images. But anyway, I guess that's, you can still follow me. So we're building the operating system for customer experience. So how does it actually work? What are we doing? What we do is we build journey-based customer experience management. So with our software, we bridge the organizational silos within the companies, and organizations use our software to manage their different initiatives. So in traditional companies, you might see a marketing team having some initiatives there, a sales team optimizing their sales funnel, and other different ops teams, product teams working on their individual pieces. And it happens on a daily basis that two different teams work on the exact same thing, not knowing that the other team is on the same thing as well. So we built this platform, and how did we pull this off, and how are we pulling this off? Well, essentially, we are thought leaders in the field. We published multiple business books in this field of service design. Some of you might know this is Service Design Thinking and this is Service Design Doing, which happen to be business bestsellers by our founder team. Based on that, we built the proprietary AI algorithm that is trained with the data from our existing customer journey map data that we have in our system. So what this ends up in is a so-called continuous CX management. That's a bit of a technical term. Practically, it's really simple. You start at a very high level with an overview of your end-to-end customer experience. Let me give you a quick example. You might have been going to this conference, the Wolf Summit in Vienna, and on the high-level customer journey, the booking phase is one single step, but you could zoom into that, and booking your journey, your itinerary, actually consists of another section of steps in the CX. And managing all of this by hand is extremely complicated. So what we do is we build a system that actually gives you indicators. Here you can see those green and yellow and red dots to give you an idea based on the data from your systems where you need to place your attention in your customer experience. And the AI helps you to prioritize those initiatives. So this all sounds fancy, but is anybody using it actually? Well, yeah, we do have a couple of customers. So there's around 30,000 organizations, not all of them paid, I need to add as a disclaimer, in 63 countries using our software. We are really strong in healthcare, in car manufacturing, in insurance, finance business, of course also the travel industry with a little dip 1.5 years ago, I need to admit. And these organizations are using Smaply in order to build their customer experience initiatives. Let me give you a couple of quotes from our customers. So PwC is using our software to communicate customer experience in their consulting projects, to get the point across, to actually let the customers know what their customers are experiencing. Kongstar, the young brand of the Deutsche Telekom in the telecommunications industry, is using it to build a new sort of organization. But we're also present in really traditional industries like Enbridge, which is actually an oil company, that now moves into more sustainable businesses and actually uses it to manage and build employee experience, which you can imagine nowadays it's really hard to attain talent in an industry that is questioned so much. So what are we doing now? We want to raise a Series A, or we are in the process of raising a Series A, not wanting it, around 5 million euros, seeking to close in Q1 2023. And there's 3 things that we want to achieve with that. We want to finish and continue and speed up the development of this said algorithm and platform in the AI. We want to strengthen the marketing and sales team and enter the US market. Even I need to add that more than a third of our revenue already comes from US customers. And needless to say, B2B SaaS sales has tricky lead cycles, relatively long lead times. We know what we are doing there from a lot of experience, but still there is ways to optimize this and speed things up. So this is what we plan to do, and the time has come to scale journey management, and we would love if you plan to join us for that journey. So what we're building is a platform for our customers, and on top of that, we want to launch, in addition, a marketplace within the next 2 to 3 years. If you're interested, let's talk. Scan the QR code to get on our website, or feel free to approach me directly. I'd be very happy to have a chat. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Klaus. So now we will move straight to the question. Who'd like to start? Victoria? Yeah.
There was again. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very clear, and I really like the perspective of the customer. Like actually, that's your job as well with the product. But I really like the whole storytelling with that. My question is, you didn't say anything about the team and how big is the team and how many are involved in that project. And secondly, I wanted to ask about your paid customers, because you were saying that not all of them are paying, but the run that you are aiming is quite huge. So maybe
absolutely, the number is huge. Yeah, sorry about that. I know team competition, but I needed to prioritize for those 7 minutes. So the team, we are currently a team of 25 people, all of them based in Innsbruck, though we speak 16 languages, so pretty international. Software engineering, sales, marketing, all of these is present there. We currently have an annual recurring revenue of close to 2 million euros, and we managed to get there with a total of 300,000 euros of investment. So pretty lean and pretty solid. And yeah, that's about. And the paid customers. So we did launch a freemium offering last year. So there is currently a little less than 1,000 paid organizations, and plus the freemium on top, with a quite solid conversion rate from freemium to paid, though. Though our focus is we do have 2 tiers. One is the normal monthly subscriptions, the other one is the enterprise sales, and actually the monthly ones serve as the lead funnel for the enterprise sales. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you very much. A CTO that has the smile, it's good energy. I like the call for action. I like the way you present the referrals. I think it's a good strength, and to see that you have some nice people on board that like your product. I would put more simple slides. In many elements, we want to listen to you. You're a good speaker as well, so we don't want to read those. And maybe one question: you present that you are helping companies, different departments to save time, right? To not do the same tasks. Do you have done some verification research? How much time do you save? This is a good value proposition as well.
Yeah, the one thing is the time saver, but the other one is the actual ROI on CX. And actually we more so usually we enter by saving time on the journey mapping task itself. You get down from to a fraction of around 10% of the time. But this is the less interesting piece. The more interesting piece is the actual ROI on the investment on customer experience. And there is pretty solid research data from schools like Harvard that actually this is the piece where it actually starts paying off for them. And this is usually also, we now actually get proactively approached by enterprises that really realize that fact and want to scale that CX management. So this is the way that we usually enter right now. So every dollar that is invested in CX usually triples around that. So,
Thank you.
Thanks. You can make a quick comment, sure. Mm-hmm.
So I can only agree with my colleagues. This was wonderful. Splendid talk. With the testimonials, this was the best. And of course, I want also to hear more about the team and also about the future markets. You will go to America, but can you imagine going to Asia? Because there's the biggest population in the world. So of course, I would like to invite you to Hong Kong, because we're the 3rd biggest financial hub in the world. And if you go IPO in Hong Kong, I will help you with that. Thank you very much.
I'd be extremely happy to have a chat.
Yes, so I'm sure that you can network later, meet at the Matchmaking Plaza. So thanks a lot for your pitch. And now, thank you. And now time for Bogdan Litescu from Plant and Up, and I can see that you're ready. So please join us on stage. We are starting the clock right now. Go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Bogdan. I'm the founder and CEO of Plant and App. The situation in organization is that the IT backlog gets bigger and bigger as the organization is aiming for operational and commercial excellence and needs to innovate at a speed greater than ever. But at the same time, IT is understaffed because we all know the good developers are hard to find and even more difficult to retain. And usually overwhelmed because the software complexity in organizations increased quite significantly in the past decade. So how do we help? We are a low-code platform that democratizes development in organization, meaning that anyone can build software. And it's not simple software, it's complex software, as I will show to you today. And to give you like a real story, Florin, he was a sales director in an agriculture business, medium-sized. So, of course, everything manual, as you can expect, a lot of phone calls and a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of secretary work. So, Florin learned low-code, and then he transformed his sales team. He automated everything, and then a couple of months later, he even joined our team. He's now part of our sales team. So this is a common story in our world, and it's just one of the stories. We have over 100 customers in 15 different countries with similar stories. Most of our customers and most of our revenue comes from the US, but we have a very good presence also in Europe. We have a good presence in Australia, India, and a few others. And usually, we go to the customers together with our partners. We have a very strong partner network. We just launched this program this year. We pivoted from doing a lot of direct sales to building the partner network. We already have 60 partners signed up that help us get to the market. And why they chose us is they chose us because we do have an exceptional product, very sophisticated, and I will tell you a bit more about that. It's easy to learn because we want to empower anyone to build software, and also we have a very predictable and transparent pricing model, which is greatly appreciated when partners have to sell the system along with their services. And probably a lot of you heard about no-code, low-code, and it seems like a very crowded space. You know, everybody talks about it. Our sales conversation usually start with IT leaders saying, "Yeah, we tried that. It's a big promise that failed us," because there was a hype curve. But now the market is maturing, and we did find our niche in the market. Because what we see with most of our competitors, they come from the world where they targeted professional developers. You know, so they were the ones doing the building. Later, when we dissolved this citizen movement, they started building simplified no-code products, but they do leave a big gap in the middle because their main builder is still the professional developers. With our approach, we want anyone to build such complex software, but we don't exclude IT, right? IT is more than happy to play a support role for the citizen development movement. Like Gartner calls them these teams fusion teams. You know, so getting IT together with business people from various departments to build these systems, because IT is still in charge of the governance part of the application, of the composability. So where does this new piece of software falls in the very complex software landscape? How does it integrate? What's the security? How does it talk to the other system or to the outer world, and so on? So as I mentioned, we have a very mature product because actually we did a spin-off in 2019 from a developer tools company that's been around for 10 years. So we really had a lot of IPs, and that's why we can compete with these big guys that you saw, Microsoft, Mendix Systems. These are companies that are 100 times bigger than us, but we usually win against them now more than 50% of the times. Because basically what PlantenUp does, it helps build a complete web application that runs a business process. It can be a customer-facing system, so it can be a customer portal. I will show you some examples. Or it can be a lot of automation, internal automation inside the team or inside the broader organizations. So you can do anything from the UI, form, listing, dashboards. You can have the data layer, so either data that is in the application or that comes from other data stores. You have the business logic. We have a very powerful business logic where you can do anything from simple things like, I don't know, sending an email notification to very complex things like doing calculation, financial modeling, things like that. And of course, we have a very powerful integration layer because, as mentioned, we never go to our organization and we are the only system there. It's a complex landscape. And the common integrations that we see in projects is between 3 and 7 integrations with other systems. And just to give you a few examples to understand what kind of systems our customers build with PlantenUp and why. So this is one of our first customers, Vail Health Hospital in Colorado. Their big problem was they had a high suicide rate in their community, so they were looking at low-code, like, let's do something fast, let's launch a new program, which is called Employee Assistance Program, basically offering therapy sessions to employees and their families. And this system was built in 20 days by two, what we call local developers, which are not professional developers. So they are business technologists, business users that are tech savvy. So in this case, we built it for them, and it helps save lives. This other example, this is a customer. Profi is the biggest employer in Romania, actually. They built it internally, again, with a team of 2 developers that are not professional developers. They are business technologists. And they automated the process of recording each ingredient that goes into their food corner when they cook food, because that was required for compliance. This is a Vodafone portal that was built by one of our partners. Again, 2 local developers that are not professional developers. They built it in 30 days. They competed with custom development companies that coded for 9 months with 6 developers to build. So then you can imagine 75% cost saving and deliver in 1/9 of the time. And as you can see, these are real powerful systems. They are not some simple system somebody does with no code. They are real systems, some even core system of organizations. So in terms of team, we are now 41 people in 4 different countries. The initial team, when we did the spin-off, was with us, so most of the team is already working 6-7 years together and created this great product. We also started recruiting a lot from our community because we have a strong community around the product, so that really helps us continue building this great team. From a financial perspective, we are very high cash efficient. We raised 1.2 million so far. We got to 1.3 million in revenue, so a good conversion. We are now cash flow positive, so that puts us in a very good position to start fundraising and scaling further. And maybe just a final word, we use our own technology. So at Plantan App, we have a licensing system, we have the learning portal, we have community forums, we even have a DevOps system that builds the Plantan App platform. If I had more developers right now, I would still put them to build the platform, not build all these other systems that we need. We are currently doing a 2.5 million seed round. And if you're interested, let's talk, and happy to take some feedback and questions.
Perfect, thank you. Big round of applause for Bogdan. And let's start with the feedback session. Who'd like to begin? Yeah, Adam, go ahead.
Sure, thank you, Bogdan. Thank you very much. I have actually maybe 2 questions. I mean, you mentioned it a bit about, but maybe it's fine, about the community building opportunity that I thought it came a bit maybe late, and I think it's a big strength of your platform, to connect those people and maybe peer-to-peer learning. How do you match maybe your developers between each other so they can grow also between each other? You know what I mean? That would be interesting. Also, question: how do you do maybe matchmaking between the clients and the developers? How do you automate this process? I'm very curious to know.
Sure. So 2 questions. One, the community. We have a good community around the product. We have 2 events every week, so we keep them engaged. We have a marketplace on our roadmap, hopefully early next year, because the community already started building extensions for the platform, so reusable pieces. They actually build a Plantan App applications that they share between themselves, those integrations and those packages. But the next stage is to create a formal package, a formal marketplace. And the other question is, how do we do the matchmaking? So there's 2 ways we work with partners. So either the partners initiate the sales in their customers because they understand the problem and they recommend the platform, or second, we have inbound and direct sales team. We get leads, customer, and then we bring the partner that is best match based on region or industry expertise or let's say budget is also a big constraint.
Okay, we have time for quick feedback from Victoria only. Okay.
Okay, so I'll try to be fast. First of all, I really love the examples that you mentioned, and especially with days and savings on time. It's great, and I really like that you are focusing on the niche and that you found your niche, and that you were also mentioning that. So maybe just like super quick question: what is your next step? Like, what is your goal with the investment round? What do you want to do with it?
Sure. So right now we want to scale the partner network because it's working very good for us. We want to open the DACH region, so it's part of why we are here. So we'll invest more in this region. Of course, just scaling the partner, the direct sales, and the product. We have lots of features that come in the product. Especially, we have to get better and better. We are already good, but we have to get better and better at winning the IT. Because the IT are the ones that have to support and believe that anyone could do it. If they don't believe it, they will just say, "Oh, it's a joke."
Okay, thank you so much. We ran out of time, but big round of applause again for Bogdan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'd like to hear from Christian from Video ID. So again, here are here are your tools to pitch, and we are waiting to start the clock. Yeah, I think you can go ahead and start.
Hi, my name is Christian Tale. I'm a co-founder of Verio ID, and we set out about a year ago to help companies on their journey to establishing digital trust. So we develop technology. Sorry, how do I go back? We develop technology that enables company on their journey to digital trust, and we provide the expertise helping them to implement this in their business. So just a few words on digital trust. Digital trust is something that companies gain from their customers, from their partners, from their employee by using everything they have in their core, people, technology, processes, to ensure safety, privacy, security, and all the good things that we're expecting in our digital interactions with them. And when that thing happens, we can say we have a transition to a secure digital world with all the benefits that come from it. Okay, so the problems right now with the internet, so we have a bit of a Wild West in there. You have infrastructure that was developed a long time ago to handle exchange of information, and you have all sorts of constructs, rather workarounds, to deal with the lack of security and other abilities. So we have all these centralized systems that are complex to integrate, that expose are at risk of exposing our data. All of that results in a lot of unrealized potential in the market. So, sorry about that. This is a bit of a technical slide. What we're seeing here is basically over the last 15 years, we had the revolution sort of that was started by blockchain with the crypto back in 2008. And then when we had smart contracts, everybody started talking about Web3 and all these nice things happening. But all of that doesn't make any sense without identity. So there's a whole stack of protocols and technology that developed up to today to deal with decentralized identity that enables us today to develop, to roll out a new breed of applications that are secure, identity enabled, and respect privacy. Of course, the opportunity comes with that. There are a lot of possibilities that are opened by decentralization and simplicity that is enabled. We're talking about full privacy here. We're talking about simple ways to integrate between systems. We're talking about very easy ways of people, devices, and systems to connect and communicate. So Verio started, again, with a goal to help companies by providing technology and expertise. And our strength comes in the ability to innovate. So we apply this technology in real-life solutions. So we started, our first steps last year were to establish a few strategic partnerships. We have the National Institute for Research and Informatics in Romania to help us promote and make the technology known to the public sector in Romania. We have Modex, which is a company we met in the accelerator program, which we're integrating with. We have Indicio, a North American company where we are a node operator on their network. And we have Bullet ID, which is more of a customer, but we have a strategic partnership with them as well, and they are part of the showcase step of our presentation. we developed in this process a portfolio of products. So we're talking here enterprise components that can be delivered as software as a service or integrated into existing products. And we have server-side components, we have mobile application libraries, we have a mobile app as well, digital identity wallet, a workflow engine, easy to integrate with other business flows. Now, what we do, more concretely, what we do. So one use case, and this is pretty big for us, we have an ammunition tracking system. And they had a lot of challenges rolling this out because of concerns around privacy and confidentiality. So what we helped with is we helped separating the data into different jurisdictions. So we have all the regulators, users of ammunition managed by the organizations behind them. You have our mobile library deployed on the mobile app that helps user engage in supply chain with all the privacy and security that comes with that. And we also have the core of the supply chain product is Verio Connect, which is enabling these digital interactions between different organizations across supply chains and on the supply chain itself. Then we have the digital identity wallet, which is, in our opinion, more of a service delivery channel. That's how it was implemented. So when we talk about digital identity, we really talk about us being in control over who we connect with, what kind of information exchange we exchange, and so on. So you can connect with different entities, be it I don't know, school, utility providers. In this example, I'm showing you somebody connected to an event. They get a personalized contact interface with different links to perform certain things on authenticated connections. So you have all the history of communication with the other parties. The revenue streams of the company, and I'm going to try to go faster through this. So we have 3 pillars really here. We have the technology that we develop, mostly sold as software as a service. We have integration and market solutions that are in process of lining up to generate revenue. Bullet ID alone will generate probably around $5 million in annual revenue going forward. We are starting a pilot in loyalty management using the Verio Me app as a centerpiece. And we also offer consulting expertise for companies to implement our technology. The next steps for us, and this is where we get to the investment part. So we are looking for investment. We're trying to launch our SaaS portfolio. We're trying to engage into more market solution pilots, expand our technical team, and start communicating about what we're doing. Why did you invest? We are innovation-oriented. We already broke the ice on the market, so we're about to start generating revenue, and we have a team that's really focused on generating value. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Great. Okay, so who'd like to start from our mentors to give some feedback to Christian?
Yeah, thank you very much for your outline. This was very fine. Yes, I wrote down team, but you, in the last few seconds, you mentioned the team and technology. Maybe I want to hear more about the technology in detail. Yes, you mentioned funding, and then with this, I also want to hear your future activities. What is your scale-up phase? Thank you.
Thank you. So, as I mentioned before, we are trying to, and I kind of rushed through the end of it. We are actually trying to raise 1 to 1.5 million euros to support our expansion over the next 12 to 18 months. We didn't really focus on communication so far because it's kind of hard to understand for many people to wrap their head around it. So we tried to get into the market. So now we're trying to expand the technical team, expand the product team, and start organizing, webinars and educational activities, basically to get into market and enable spin-offs from this.
Thank you. So on my side, I really like that it was very visual and very easy to read in terms of slides. I like the revenue streams, although I would start to talk about product a little bit earlier because it was very long history.
Yeah.
The story was really slow in that terms, but and also I would add more about markets that you want to get into, because you were mentioning about the investment round and that you want to expand, but where you want to expand and why there and why you see the opportunity there. So that's something I would dig into.
Thank you.
Agreed. Yeah, I agreed with the colleagues here. Thank you, Christian. On me, similar problem, a bit long. I would maybe also put some info about your belief, which is digital identity, that you kind of emphasize, but maybe in the middle, maybe would like to hear it more, like what we believe in at Verio, what's the future, and how we want to integrate supply chain. So, yeah, maybe also I would explain earlier, like how you integrate all these processes together through your solution, because that was interesting, and I would have liked to hear a bit more about this. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, Victoria said it, and about the. So I'm losing myself. I just wanted to say about maybe presenting body language. There's a crowd here. Talk to them, not only to us. Enjoy the stage. But that was great. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Right now, I would like to give huge round of applause to our jury right here. If you can stand up, show yourselves. We've got here Wiktoria Przybylska, Adam Saku, and Gregory Roll. Thank you so much. This was the last startup pitching in this session, but it's not over. I would like to invite here Filip Stopa, the business development specialist at Startup House, who will tell us more about when is a startup even fundable. So, over to Filip.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Today I want to tell a few words about when, in my experience, startup is even fundable, and I'm talking about be focusing on pre-seed and seed stage periods of life cycle of a startup, and actually invested by entities that evaluate the value of the idea and whether or not it's actually validated. A key little background of mine, like was mentioned, I represent Startup House. We are a product company from Poland focused on helping startups exclusively. What we do is that we are making sure that all the pieces of a concept that we are about to work on fall together in place before the coding actually starts. And we are focused on two main aspects. First of all, defining and validating the value proposition, and the second, making sure that we have the best possible usability pattern. My story will be based on almost 2 years experience from working with startups from various industries and various markets, like e-commerce, medtech, educational tech, fintech, you name it. Basically, I see a pattern of startups who gets invested in that I will unravel shortly, but basically, like to start this background, it's not a secret that most of investors prefer those kind of business model that are actually validated, but like I said, I'll be focusing on investments from business angels, from VCs, from eventually incubators or accelerator programs. But as the studies show, or maybe the evidence there is, that pre-seed range actually before the pandemic was on average around $500,000. And it's substantially higher than what I see on average, which would be probably around $200,000 to $250,000, but it's still sufficient enough to start creating the MVP and getting the traction on the market. And the message kind of I want to share today, which is my point, that I can't tell how many times we are being approached by founders, though very passionate, though very energetic, focus on building very sophisticated, cool, trending technologies, but at the same time, those founders find it hard to define what kind of problem actually in the first place the startup is supposed to solve. So, like, the main question is for me, does your startup, can you answer that question, solves a real problem? And to me, which once again is my point, should be who should answer this question? And that should be your users, actually, oops. And basically, you should be able to tell or answer those questions from those users, from those conversations with those users, like how huge is the problem, of course, how many people, I mean, what is your market, how many people actually struggle with this problem, right? Who are those people? Can you group them somehow? And by the way, how have they coped with this problem until now? And one of the great indicators at this point that you did your thing right would probably be that I see like repeating pattern that if you already have a big interest from the users in your idea, you experience like thousands, maybe more entries on your wait list from people who are willing to leave their contact details to participate in their interviews, maybe in the user testing, which it should take great advantage of if you are there. And the second thing is, also happens sometimes, some startups, even at pre-seed stage, tend to generate some maybe marginal revenue from, for example, services correlating with the core business that they eventually want to embed in the idea, or sometimes they do both, right? But if not that way, how otherwise can you validate your idea with your users? I would say that to us are three aspects, core aspects to it. First of all is the quantity, to get the sufficient sample of users that would later be able for your interviews and for your later user testing with session. Quality, to define the unique selling proposition that basically hits the bullseye. And of course, the usability to make sure that whatever solution that you are trying to build actually solves the problem in whole, entirely. And what is probably missing here is the elephant in the room, which is what about the attack on, oh, no, it's a joke. Of course, it's about the technology, like if the technology is relevant in my story. I will answer shortly since we are short on time. Basically, to me, I never saw an example where tech buzzwords and conversation with the investors help them to actually build their position in those stocks. So my advice would be to start simple, keep it simple, and maintain it as long as you can. So two cases I wanted to show you, like what happens, for example, when it's done properly. Is one of, sorry for the style, but one of the cases is actually coming from Europe, which is not visible. Those guys wanted to build this domestic service product. They were at the pre-seed stage when they approached us, and they already had some investors network built, maybe some arrangements done, no funding yet, at least secured. What they wanted, how they named the challenge, was to build the MVP, but they couldn't decide on what's important. We applied the user-focused framework properly, so the end result was that when we still were talking to the users, they got accepted by the angel investor, let's call it, and once we started building MVP, they got an institution round secured. But on the contrary, what happens when you skip this part? This case comes from the USA. The founder wanted to build this social networking filtering categorization app. She had an arrangement, deep arrangement with the angel investor, and she was focused on the tech feasibility only. We didn't manage to convince her to focus more on the users, so the whole user assumption came without, let's say, our artificial verification. Testing of the POC product indicated that there is a great need of pivot of the focus groups, so we ended up with some rapid activities to actually maintain the interest of that business investor. My final advice would be to develop or at least maintain a proof-craving, skeptical mindset in regards basically to your users. Try to look for scientifically proven arguments of your thesis, of the problem that you are trying to solve, and this is definitely much more possible that's going to leverage your position in the talks with the investors instead of using buzzword technology or technology buzzwords. My bad, sorry. I love listening to the stories of startup founders. So if you're interested to share one with me, looking, for exchanging experiences, maybe some hint on how we can proceed. This is my email. Of course, it cut it off my LinkedIn profile, but like it said, I'm Filip Stopa, and by that name and surname, you should find me on LinkedIn. Thank you for your attention.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I don't know how to turn it off. Just.
Okay, now, so we have our first showcase behind us, and next one will be right after the lunch break. So right now, I would like to invite you to recharge your batteries, go to the lunch break zone, which is just, you keep going straight and then left. It's in space 04. And yeah, so we'll see you back here with a new dose of startups. So I cannot wait. So see you here in an hour. Bye.